And now, speaking of legendary music and musicians, tonight's Mic'd Up features a man who's got a close-up of DC's history. This segment dedicated to bringing in different voices you may not have heard of, but have amazing stories to tell. This is about conversations, not quick 5-second sound bites. Today we hear from Chip Pye. He wrote the book DC Go-Go 10 Years Backstage, which is a look into the history of go-go in our city. But Chip had a very special job. He was the official photographer for the king, the godfather himself, Chuck Brown. Take a look.
Having my pictures archived in the DC library for generations to come now meant that it's time to sit down and write the book. And because of COVID, I had time.
All right, so we're in Northeast DC today at Chuck Brown Memorial Park with Chip Pye, who is the author of this brand new book, DC Go-Go, 10 Years Backstage. So Chip, you worked with Chuck Brown for quite a long time. He considered you part of the band. Why was that? Why were you so important to Chuck Brown?
Chuck asked me after I was photographing him for a year to walk to the stage with him. And on that walk to the stage, he had something to tell me. And what he told me was that what I am doing for him is important to him, important to his family, and important to his legacy. Giving the legacy to people who might not know. Giving the legacy to people for the history beyond me, beyond you. What I saw, what I captured in authentic go-go is now preserved for historians and people to see.
It makes me realize that artists, as fantastic as they are, they come and go, but it's you and your craft and it's writers that help to carry their legacy on. And he saw that importance, and you fully realize that working with him and so many other musicians.
Right.
Yeah, let's check out these prints you got. Oh, wow.
These are my limited edition prints that I released on the same days that the book released. And these are my best Chuck Brown pictures. I was able to be in the barrier, and I am right here in the barrier, and the fans were reaching across me to Chuck. And Chuck, 75 years of age, was kneeling down to try and reach them.
Why was now the right time for this book?
That was a result of the events of Don't Mute DC, in which Go-Go stood up for itself and said, we are here, we're part of the city's culture, after for so many years being pushed aside by the city and thought of as something that was not worthy of any attention. When I wrote this book, I took a lot of care to make sure that the people who are in Go-Go are represented in this book. There's even a whole section of photos of the fans. Chuck Brown's creation of Go-Go, Go-Go 101, which are the 3 elements of Go-Go. It talks about the business of Go-Go. It talks about the culture of Go-Go.
One of the key things that you want people to know is, Chuck Brown, obviously the godfather of go-go, but this is a book that's not just about him. It's about how go-go emanated from him and about how crucial it is for DC culture.
Exactly. And while Chuck Brown is a huge part of DC culture, the creation of it, which is covered in my book, as well as my experiences with Chuck, the book also covers all of the bands that were performing in the 10 years that I was taking these images here.
We're really privileged to be able to talk to you about this. Congratulations with the book, DC Go-Go 10 Years Backstage. Chip, thank you so much.
All right, man.
It's been a real pleasure.
Cool.
And the shots are great, man.
Thank you.
This looks amazing.
Thank you.
You know how they say that pictures speak 1,000 words? I mean, I could have just talked with Chip for hours. There's this one picture of Chuck Brown that he took in the 930 Club where you can see Chuck sort of pointing down like this. It's a famous picture. And what he's doing is he's pointing at the security official there in the 930 Club to try to remove the barricades that existed between the stage and the audience, because go-go was it's a form of music where the audience is just deeply embedded with the music that's going on. And Chuck wanted the barricade gone. He wanted the fans right there at the stage. 930 Club not willing to play ball on that one, so he was not able to miss that out. A lot of stories like that in Chip's book. You know, go-go is 50 years old. It is so deeply interwoven into DC's culture. I asked Chip about how he's seen it evolve. For one, he said, well, the influx of women. He said women weren't really part of the go-go scene 30 years ago. And then, of course, the venues. Most of the old spots have all been shut down. But, man, the stories he can tell, 14 months on the road with Chuck. Tomorrow, Chip's going to be at the Public Option Brew Pub in Northeast on Rhode Island Ave for a discussion and a book signing. Of course, there will be go-go music. Check out the book. It's a great read. You will learn a ton about go-go and see some great pictures to boot.